The coalition of NGOs in health say the request by the National Ambulance Service to the President not to commission some 211 ambulances today for distribution to all constituencies across the country is confusing. The ambulances have been parked at the forecourt of Parliament House since September 2019. Each constituency would have had an ambulance after today, but that seems unlikely. There is more in this report by Hannah Odame.
Originally, all 275 ambulances promised by the Akufo-Addo administration should have been ready by April 2019. That deadline was not met. In September 2019, however, the first batch of ambulances arrived in the country. For now, 211 ambulances remain parked at the forecourt of Parliament House. Minister of Special Initiatives, the Health Minister, and the National Ambulance Service have been given various reasons why the ambulances remain stationed. Here is the Minister, Mavis Hawakumson.
We were just trying to put things rightly so that nobody will now tell us that you didn't bring the right stuff in the country.
Kweku Ajuman Menu is the Health Minister.
And all the specifications and all the things that are in there. As I speak, from my check with the ministry that is procuring the vehicles for the ambulance service, the suppliers, about 5 of them, to bring in 307, right? They have not handed over the vehicles to the ministry yet, meaning pre-delivery inspection and things haven't been done. The minister, on my last check was on Monday yesterday, is away in Turkey, still looking at some of them, trying to look at how we will maintain them with spare costs and all that.
Pressure groups, including Occupy Ghana, questioned the basis for these excuses. The hashtag "Release the Ambulances Now" began trending. The coalition of NGOs in health also joined the campaign.
The whole thing is confusing, from the Vice President's office to the Minister's office to the Presidency back to the National Ambulance Service. The public officials are playing with Ghanaians' life, because they are the same people who advise the President to declare, and they are the same people who are going back again to talk about technical issues. Are they not aware 3 months ago when those ambulances were there? Couldn't they have organized the training using those 70 ambulances so that this one could easily be dispatched? So it's very confusing, and everybody is lying to Ghanaians, and we are not happy about it.
The minority in Parliament gave government 3 days to distribute the ambulances.
We in the minority are not the only people who have indicated that the ambulances that are being parked here to decorate the forecourt of Parliament must be distributed.
The most assured response, however, came when President Akufo-Addo announced the date for the commissioning of the ambulances.
The Minister for Special Development Initiatives, who's been responsible for bringing them, told me about a month, 6 weeks ago, that some of the ambulances were in, should she distribute it? And I said no, she shouldn't. She should wait till they all come in. So one day we can distribute them all at the same time to all 275 constituencies. I saw myself getting into a tremendous amount of issues if you started distributing some and others didn't get it. Fortunately for us, all of them will be in by the end of this month. 160 odd are already in, and the balance on the high seas will be here by the end of the month. The 300 will be there. On the 6th of January, I will commission them, and then the distribution will take place simultaneously across the country. And
This, however, remains a promise, as the ambulance service has pleaded with the President to reschedule the commissioning due to 3 main reasons: fitting the vehicles with trackers, insuring the vehicles, and training paramedics.
That was a report filed by my colleague Hannah Odame. So what exactly is the reason for the request for this distribution to be postponed? Professor Ahmed Nuhu Zakaria is Director of the National Ambulance Service.
As soon as a vehicle is commissioned, it means it's operational from that very moment. And because it's not just a vehicle that is just going to move, but a system of emergency care response, what it means that before the commissioning, whatever will make the vehicle operational definitely should be done. And, for procurement processes, when the contract is signed, there's always a roadmap in terms of manufacturing, delivery, training, commissioning, and then operationalization. Now, you realize that a lot really is happening at the same time. And it was assumed that all the processes will have been completed before the D-Day of the commissioning. Unfortunately, there were certain delays, which obviously were beyond our control. And so we needed to bring this to the attention of the authorities. So currently, the only things, if you saw the letter, what we are waiting for now is the training, which has been confirmed for the 13th of January. And you know, the training has two components. Training of the paramedics on the usage of the equipment. And because these are new equipment, obviously you need to train the paramedics who are going to use them. Because mind you, if you're going to use a medical equipment and you don't know how to use it, you can cause more harm than good. So obviously you cannot use it until you receive the training. Apart from that, the training is also tied to the warranty period, because definitely the manufacturer wants to ensure that he has done the training and ensure that whoever is going to use it knows how to use it, so that you just don't tamper with the vehicles. So that training is very important. And apart from that, the vehicle itself, because it's a new vehicle, they will also have to receive some training or orientation as regards how it's used. And the tracking devices that they are placing on the vehicles, that also has not been completed. Currently, as we speak, if you go to the State House there, you'll see that they are still working on them to be able to ensure that before they leave, each of them have the tracking devices installed on them.
So training, installation of tracking devices, and insurance for the vehicles?
Absolutely, yes.
All right. So then if they are coming in on 13th to train those who manage them, when should we see the commissioning so that they'll be distributed?
The commissioning is proposed to be on...
Hannah Odame there, speaking to the ambulance service there. Well, the coalition of NGOs in health says this development is not good for effective healthcare delivery. Dr. Gabriel Benaku is president, and he joins me in the studio for that conversation. We'll ask him how it appears that the ambulance service has a justification. Doctor, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So let's begin with what I just said. They've given justifiable reasons why we can't share these ambulances right now.
Yeah, good afternoon to your viewers, and more especially to the Minister of Health and the National Ambulance Ghana Health Service. None of the justification given is valid from our point of view. That's why we consistently, 3 months ago, told the Minister of Health, distribute what you have. Distribute what you have to solve some medical challenges. There's no point in keeping those ambulances to let the over 200 come to join before you commission and distribute.
I think that's one part of the story. I think the other part which is coming from the ambulance service is that they have to install trackers, for example. That's one of it. Secondly, they have to train paramedics. I mean, that's a justifiable reason. You can't just put a vehicle out there when you don't have the requisite personnel to work with it.
That's what I'm saying, that none of them is valid. All the explanation and justification they are giving are not things we should accept it. Let me give you a typical scenario.
Please.
Emergency medical services, including ambulance deployment, is an urgent thing. So you don't even keep one.
Okay.
That's the first point. You don't even keep one to do those things. 2, before you procure, you would have put up a roadmap from procurement to training to distribution to use. Because it's an emergency service, it must be integrated into the system. So you don't even wait for them to arrive before you start doing that. That in itself, the National Ambulance Service intervention now is irrelevant. They could have provided the input from day 1 in September or 9 months ago. They were supposed to draw attention to the presidency, to the vice presidency, and to the Minister of Health when the Minister for Special Initiative was involved in this. They are not technical people. So it's only good that they have some funds they want to procure. But that was the first time they could have made their intervention. Now, they waited for all this hula baloo to go on till when it's left 1 week for the president to commission, and you are issuing a statement 5 days to commissioning to try to advise the Minister of Health and the presidency. I think they have not done a good job for this time.
Okay.
And that we will not accept. The other point is that all the information about the national ambulance procurement, distribution, whatever, blah, 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 installation of digital facilities and blah, 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 all the explanations are not coordinated.
Okay.
And they are inconsistent. They are very contradictory. I don't want to start mentioning names, but we are not happy.
You're free to mention names.
Well, we are not happy about how the whole thing started. How could we be talking about health? Something that you and I should not compromise. We can play around with other sectors, but health emergency, we don't have to play around with it. Everybody knows that. The Minister of Health knows that. Why are we playing politics with the people? In health, we don't play politics with it. You can do it in other sectors.
When you say we're playing politics, what exactly do you mean? Because we have obviously heard reasons by the National Ambulance Service why it can't be. We've heard reasons from the president. In fact, the president said he was going to do it today. But when you say playing politics, exactly what do you mean?
The National Ambulance Service could have initiated these processes, gave their specification of what type of ambulance Ghana needs. That's their work. Before they go ahead to do procurement. That's their work.
So where is the politics?
But politically, they have initiated, but without even they being aware. And now, when they realize that they are in trouble, they are now issuing an advisory to whoever is in charge to say that even when we commission, it cannot be put to use. Can you imagine this?
So the point you're making is that they are, I'm trying to figure out the politics you say is at play here. And I can't really seem to find it. So if you'll help me out.
It's very simple. When the ambulance issue came, 70 of them were already there.
Yeah.
We said distribute them. We said no. That's politics. Why you are...
How is that politics?
You are representing people. You have sworn an oath that you shall do all manner good to all manner of people. You shall ensure equity distribution of health resources. You shall do blah, 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 blah. And now you have 70 and you are not distributing. You want to wait for everything to come. Where on earth will you ever see this? That's first point.
Okay.
2, the president said he was reliably informed by the special ministry that the ambulance are on their way, and he said they should wait until all that was also a wrong note from the president. It's totally wrong, because health issues is not about waiting for other facilities to be added. We don't do that anywhere in the world. So that's politics.
So, so when you say politics, you mean that government is making some of these comments just to score political points without necessarily acting on it?
You can do alternative and still make your political gains. By timely responding to the request of the people. Like everybody in the country, 90% of civil society have put their voice, president, release the 70.
Yeah.
Media, 100% say release the 70. So you could score political coin from that by releasing those you already have. When another next batch comes, you release them. But for you to wait, and we are hyping, reporting from WA, from Dolly, from elsewhere, and Chilpani, reporting the effect of the absence of ambulances. The effect of the absence of ambulances is that people are dying. And so you see that people think that, I mean, we are not listening as leaders of this country. We are not listening to the plight of the people. And I think that the president should take a special initiative to ensure that these ambulances are dealt with once and for all. Because what has happened last year till now, and we are beginning the year with all this in and out, is not the best for us. All that we need to do is that let's deploy whatever we have, let people start using them, let's continue to add on. And you see, the other critical point, I don't know, maybe the media have not captured it. Let's look at the distribution of the paramedical staff of the national ambulance.
Okay.
If you pick the 5 northern regions, you will see that we have less than 10% of the paramedical teams in those regions. It means that those regions, we really don't have the technicians to manage the ambulances, even if you distribute them now.
This is in the northern part of the country? In the northern part.
You check the Ghana Health Service statistics, you will see that, Greater Accra and Ashanti region alone is having over 80% of the paramedical teams right in the south. While from Brown Hafu to the north, you have about 20% of the paramedical team covering about 7 regions. So it means that if you dispatch an ambulance now to Chirpane, you are likely not to have even 1 paramedical team there.
Again, that sounds like justification. You helping with the justification of the National Ambulance Service?
No, that's what I'm saying, that the plan to have put in place by the National Ambulance Service to advise the president or to advise the Ministry of Health was critical, which was never done. Okay. That's the first point.
Okay.
If they did, what would have happened is that the over 80% human resource in Accra and Kumasi, they would have
evenly distributed.
Yeah, they would have redistributed them. Okay. Are you getting it? That's what I'm saying. The whole thing is confusing.
Okay.
Because somebody is pursuing an agenda and another person is sitting there thinking that, oh, that should have been my way, but I'm not involved. Let me wait and see what will happen.
So you think this is part of the politics, that the National Ambulance Service feels that the Special Initiative Ministry is taking over their job, and so they are trying to put
that's my opinion.
They're trying to put bottlenecks.
That's my opinion, because under no circumstances, if the Special Ministry had the resources, yes, but they could have seek the technical know-how from the National Ambulance for the process to be properly developed, initiated for the contracting and the management of the contract and the deployment and the redistribution of the facility. Okay. So we didn't have to wait for 307 ambulances to be in Accra before we start distributing.
Okay, let's move the conversation forward. We'll do a bit of social media and find out. You know, for some time now, release the ambulances now had been trending. We'll go on to social media and find out what has become of that particular campaign. But in moving the conversation forward, Dr. Benako, I want us to talk about what happens next. Right now, we're looking...
My passionate appeal to the President of the Republic is that he should use his executive power to allow, even if there are 10 ambulances ready, he should allow them to move to the various districts that need them, and he should hold his officers responsible for ensuring that they are dispatched immediately without delay.
Okay, and since morning we've been doing this story. In fact, I wanted to find out if you've had any responses at all. I mean, have you been in touch with any of the ministries, any of the stakeholders involved in this, and to get any results or responses?
No response yet, but my vice chairperson is at the ministry now. They are discussing on health, finance, and other issues. And so I will be briefed out after this place by 5 p.m. We will meet in the office and we will discuss the outcome of his engagement with them. Okay.
So right now you're making the NGOs are making an appeal for President Akufo-Addo to go ahead and distribute whatever is there, irrespective of the concerns raised.
We should allow them to go to the various.
Okay. And then when do we do the insurance, and when do we do the track? Put the tracking system on it, and how do we deal with
those things as I'm talking about? There are things that we don't have to waste time on them. Are you getting it?
Including the training of the paramedics?
The training of the paramedics, by what Professor Zakaria talked about, it means they already have the team in place. So we didn't have to waste time.
No, but I mean, I'm talking about moving the conversation forward now. Now, even if we have the paramedics, like you're saying, we have about 80% of them concentrated in Accra and Kumasi. Now, if we need to put them, like you said, redistribute them across, how do we train them for this specific
No, they already have a traditional training.
Okay.
You know, they are trained as professional in that. What it just simply means is that technology...
They're getting them acquainted with this.
Yeah, the people who produce these ambulances already have a training pack in the form of videos, in the form of calibration, for automation. So they are easy because it's part of the package. So all that we are saying is that they could easily do the orientation for them, irrespective of wherever they are dispatching it.
Okay.
And we are more interested that the thing should move to the regional centers, and the regional directorate will find the areas that are critical for them to distribute. As we speak now, the regional directorate, they already know where there's needed service.
Okay. So they should work with the regional directors to find out the critical areas,
exactly.
and then just distribute them there, and then work on the training there as well. Well, hopefully that works. Well, let's see if there's any thing on social media as far as this campaign is concerned. It looks like we don't have it at the moment, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts on our WhatsApp platform. So you can send me a WhatsApp to our WhatsApp line, and then we can also get on the line to talk to Professor Ahmed Nuhu Zakaria. Prof, thank you for your time this afternoon. Right, Prof. So I'm just talking to the coalition of NGOs in health. And they're saying that, which is quite logical, that before... Can you hear me?
They say what?
What they're saying is that before the procurement processes, all the plans, all that you're talking about, the training of the paramedics, the fitting of tracking systems, and then the insurance should have been done at the point of way before even the procurement, that there should have been a plan. Was there such a plan?
It's because they don't appreciate the issues. That's why they are saying that. Because mind you, number one, in the country, government vehicles normally are not insured. And the ambulances we have always had have not been insured. So for the first time, a decision was taken to insure all the vehicles comprehensively. I hope you are following me.
Following you. Did this happen before or after the procurement?
Oh, after, because obviously, once the decision was taken to procure the ambulances, along the line, conversations were held, and it was found prudent to insure the vehicles. So that's a different process altogether.
So what's the, I am following you, Prof, but again, you talk about the prudence in insuring the vehicles. What exactly will we achieve with that, especially since this is an ambulance?
You know that in the past, we have had difficulties because if the vehicle gets involved in an accident, because it doesn't have an insurance, it definitely comes at a very huge cost.
Okay.
And then the other reality also is that if there are major accidents or incidents, it means you don't have any system to recover. So it means you just write the vehicle off. And, so obviously, as for, all the benefits of an insurance, obviously, the ambulances come with the same benefits, okay? And in terms of the training they are talking about, we have different types of training. We have training that we do our...
Your call has been put on hold. Please wait. Your call has been put on hold.
Well, unfortunately, we've lost Professor Ahmed Nuhu there, but, well, he's still on the line, I gather. Prof, you were talking about the training regime. Please go ahead. Hello, Prof. Zakaria. It looks like he can't hear me, but you disagree with the point that he's making about the insurance.
What I'm saying.
What he says is the decision to insure these vehicles were taken after the procurement, so they couldn't have thought of that before the procurement.
So that's what I'm saying. Everything is confusing. That's the point, because what insurance, all of us, while it is government vehicle, insurance can be done. The vehicle have their own unique identification already, and you are insuring them comprehensively. How many days should it take you to insure? How many days? I have a vehicle. One day you can insure, and especially when it is government priority. They don't need
too many days.
They don't need too many
I'm
days.
looking forward to raising back Prof. Nuhu on the line so we can find out from him exactly when they want to do this. How long does he think it will take for them to do that? But again, he raises the issue about the training regime. He said, you are saying what you're saying because you don't have background, you don't really understand the issues at
So
hand.
he's working for us. He's not working for himself. He should let Ghanaians know what is the content of the additional training they are supposed to offer, which they are not offering. He shouldn't keep it to himself. He should open it out to Ghanaians. He shouldn't allow this last hour to say they still have other training to do. They are working for us, and they must account to us. Why didn't he advise when the president made the announcement that they need to do extra training? So all that we are saying is that we appreciate whatever they are doing, but we think that they are delaying unnecessarily. That's the point. We are not against whatever they are doing, but it's unnecessarily delayed, and therefore people are dying, people are suffering. That's all. They should release the ambulances.
I'm interested to hear your comments and to hear your thoughts before I let Dr. Banako go. Banako go. I am hoping really that we'll get Prof. Nuhu back on the line. So we put these questions to him. Exactly when are they looking to now distribute the ambulances? By the way, earlier this afternoon there were some videos, and let me find out from you, Doc, if you have seen it. There were some videos
Yes,
of
I've seen them.
The ambulances. Were they on the motorway?
Tagging on their names.
And we've actually seen some. I don't know if they were on the motorway or on the N1. And someone said the distribution had already started. Have you heard anything like that?
No,
because we haven't verified
the
yet.
tagging of the names, writing the names on some of the ambulances.
Interesting. We don't know yet whether they're being distributed, but obviously they are not. We've also checked with the president's itinerary, and we haven't seen any such program on the president's itinerary. So finally, as we're unable to raise Doc back on the line, because I really wanted to put your question to him, that they are delaying this unnecessarily, and exactly when, bottom line, exactly when they're looking. Okay, I do have Prof back on the line. So Prof, you were talking about the training regime. Do you wrap up on that for me?
So I was explaining that we have two types of training.
Right.
The first one, which is the paramedic training or emergency medical technician training, we do it locally at our paramedic and emergency care training school. That's when we train the paramedics how to provide care and the services they will provide outside the hospital, what we call pre-hospital emergency care services.
Okay.
That knowledge they have, those skills they have, is independent of the user training, which normally is linked to the contract, where before the release of the vehicles, the manufacturer does what they call user training and hands-on training in terms of the equipment of the ambulances and then the ambulance itself, operations of the ambulance, because it's a new vehicle. So those are the ones that they normally do briefly before they hand over.
Okay, so that should take you how long, sir?
Oh no, the training is just a couple of days, about 5 days. But it's independent of the activities that are going on at Parliament House now, which includes the registration of the vehicles, the insurance of the vehicles, the installation of the tracking devices. But this training, once the people arrive on the 13th of March, obviously in 3 days they should be done with the training.
So you're saying we can do this when exactly?
So the training now is scheduled for 13th of January. The people are to arrive on the 12th of January and do the training on the 13th.
I'm not even talking about the training. I'm talking about when can we finish the training and the tracking and the insurance.
We have proposed 28th of January as the new date for the commissioning.
28th of January. Let me just find out if the NGOs in health are excited about that. Dr. Banako, you've heard Prof. Nuhu say that from the look of things, they'll have to do all these things. It won't take so much time, but it has to be done. 28th of January. That's not too many days away, is it?
Yeah, we can't do anything. We have talked long over this, and they decide to do what they want to do. So we will wait and see what they will do. We have talked about it 3 months consistently. Release the first batch you have. Continue to release whatever is ready. And they decide not to mind, and they are doing what they want to do. We are okay. We will observe and make our input as and when is necessary.
Prof? Hello, Prof.
Yes, please.
Did you hear him?
I didn't hear him well.
Well, he says that they've been pushing for this for the past 3 months. If you had all of these things to do, you could have done all of those. Right now, they're sort of adopting the wait and see.
Yes, I appreciate the concern, and we are more eager to have this vehicles commission. But he knows as a colleague that if we don't also get this thing done, we will just have a good fund in terms of the commissioning, and the vehicles will still be standing there to get all this process complete. So if we are patient just a couple of days to get everything done, so that when the vehicle leaves, it's going to start operating. I think it will be in the interest of all of us.
A lot of people are not very optimistic. They believe that we talk too much in this country, and they believe that when timelines are given, like the 6th January, we don't usually respect it. That's why people don't seem to have a lot of confidence in their assurances.
I agree. But this time we'll ensure that by 28th, we have all these processes complete.
Prof, thank you very much for joining in the conversation. Well, I'll just take a few questions, a few of your comments here, and then we wrap up on that particular conversation. DJ from Bolga says, Nanado's performance for the past 3 years in office is just 25.5% below average. You say the president moves with ambulance, sleep with ambulance, travel abroad for healthcare, but careless for Ghanaians. 2020 is here. Okay. Let me... Mr. Zakaria should give us a break. We are tired of all these explanations he's giving us. Human lives are being lost. See the way he's finding it very difficult to speak. So since September, they didn't think of doing the training and insurance. This is from Destiny from Ziope in the Volta region. Destiny, thanks for your message. This one says, Ghana is not serious at all, and you, the journalists, are not putting pressure on government as if you are not Ghanaians. The way you helped in dealing with the previous government is clearly different from your stance now. Okansi from Kaso. Okansi, thanks for your message, but obviously part of the pressure is why we're doing this story, if you'd acknowledge that. Let me take one final message, and then we'll call it a day, and then I'll have your final words on that, Doc. James says, from James, Mr. James, after delivery, the government should arrest NDC officials who go and buy sprinters as ambulance. They cause financial loss to the state. Lots of your messages coming in there, but I'm going to take your very final words.
Yeah, thank you, Prof, for your intervention, even though it's late. I want to specially appeal to the coalition of NGOs in health, 382 NGOs operating in 201 districts, that they should collect data in these 201 districts from now till the 28th January for us to see within the 2 weeks what would have been some of the negative impact on our health system. So I'm taking this special occasion to impress on all members to take videos and let us see, because of the absence of the ambulance, what are some of the challenges the health system is not able to address. Then I'm making a special appeal to the President of the Republic that His Excellency, please take full control to ensure that our health system is robust and responsive to the needs of Ghanaians. And I know you are committed, and I want you to take a special interest in ensuring the readily distribution of these ambulances. At the same time, look at the health financing in general and ensure that Ghanaians receive better health services in 2020. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming. Dr. Banakude, he is president of the NGOs in health, the coalition of NGOs in health, talking about the ambulances. A lot of you have been sending in messages, and you seem to stand with him, saying that the institutions, the agencies that were meant to tackle this have taken too long. Well, Prof says 28th of January is the next date, and the NGOs say, well, it looks like there isn't much we can do at this point, even though they're calling on President Akufo-Addo to quickly facilitate the immediate distribution of the ambulances, whichever way. We'll be following up to see how it goes.